Welcome to English 100 and the first module. In this module, I'm going to go over what you can expect for this course, including what to do for assignments and what you are expected to do at the end of this module. To begin, I am Lara Ripkins, the voice in your head right now or coming through your speakers. I work full-time with Portage College in the EA and ELCC departments, but also work in university transfer and other areas as my skills are required. In my background, I have been a teacher since the early 2000s. I have my bachelor's of education and also my master's of education and my certification for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I am based in Edmonton, so I am part of the virtual campus in Portage College. And I have 3 dogs, a cat, spouse, and 3 kids who are not kids anymore. If you need to get a hold of me, your best option is to use your Portage College email and email me at lara.ripkins@portagecollege.ca. Be careful with the way you're spelling my name because sometimes people put in an extra I where there is that E. So double check the spelling on that if you need to get a hold of me. If it is something more emergent, you can text me at 780-201-1024. And I ask that you do this instead of calling because at any point in the day, I might be teaching another class, I might be in a meeting or doing other work for the college or even just with my family. As much as I am able, I will get back to your email, texts, and messages within 1 business day. So that does not include weekends because weekends are sacred days, in as much as they're time for the family. So this course is designed to help prepare you for the writing requirements at a college level. And we have this course because one of the things that we do notice is that many students come from, have big gaps in their time with schooling. So it might have been a long time since they've been in school. It could also be that they haven't been in college or university before, or that you might be coming from another location where different writing standards apply. So the goals within this course is to help you understand what is required within your writing and communication assignments throughout your program, not just in this course. This course is to help you for all other courses in your program. Both of the course textbooks are fully available online. They are what we call online educational resources, which mean that they are free. We will not be covering the course books in the order of the chapters they have. Instead, I have matched up specific chapters to specific topics within each module. Now, within the course Moodle itself, you can also link to the online versions of these textbooks, but within each module, I also have PDF copy of the specific chapter that would go along with those modules. So in all your courses, you will have learning outcomes, and this is what we call our curriculum. This is what you are expected to be able to demonstrate by the end of the course. And so within this course, there are 10 things that you are expected to be able to know and do to successfully complete this. Identifying cultural differences in writing and communication skills will be demonstrated through the essay in Module 8. You're supposed to demonstrate a working knowledge of English writing fundamentals. So this will be demonstrated through the quizzes, the outline, and the essay. So pretty much from this module to the end. You're supposed to be able to conduct research with an understanding of what is a reliable source of information. This will predominantly be done through the essay and the outline. You need to effectively integrate borrowed information, ideas, examples, etc., using paraphrasing as much as possible. I know it says summary and only rarely direct quotation there. This will be talked about more in Module 5. This will be done also through the essay assignment. You are expected to create a basic outline, and an outline is your plan for the essay. So the two are linked. And you'll be able to compose an essay using that outline, which will be demonstrated through the essay. You must also be able to apply the current edition APA citation to format a paper, to integrate borrowed ideas, and to cite and document sources. This is a major part of this course because APA citation format will be the requirement for all of your other courses. It is the standard citation format in the field of education. You must avoid all suspicion of plagiarism. I will talk more about this in Module 2, and you will be demonstrating it through your essay. And you must be able to proofread and edit the essay to eliminate any mechanics errors or poor expression. So again, through the essay, and you have to be able to demonstrate that you can upload work to the Moodle for evaluation, again, through the outline and essay. So I'm just going to pull the Moodle Classroom into the screen right now, and I'm going to go over some basic things. But throughout this module video, I will periodically pull it back into the screen for demonstrative purposes. So this is your class Moodle. And at the top of the class, you have these different tabs here. The tabs have, the first two are supports and information. And I'm just going to increase the size here. Course information relays the basic information I've just discussed. So what is the purpose of this course? How can you get a hold of me? There is also information on a course outline and course syllabus. All of your courses in the EA and ELCC programs will have a course outline, which is what the Portage College Board of Governors has approved for this course. And they will have a course syllabus, which is the information provided by your instructor on timelines, assignments, and other information related to the course. So if you click on those, you will get that information. And I like to demonstrate this because for many students, English 100 is the first course you start with. So the outlines are always pretty short because it's just what the Board of Governors approve. Here it identifies the texts. If there is any supplemental learning resources, those outcomes again, the breakdown of assignments very generally, and what is often referred to the most in course outlines is the grading scale. Portage College officially uses an alpha grade scale, so when you get your transcripts, you will see a letter grade. However, for the purpose of being able to transfer to or from other institutions, we also show the equivalent scales that other institutions might use. So for example, University of Alberta uses a 4.0 scale. So in that case, a B plus at Portage would be a 3.3 on that 4.0 scale. We also include the percentage equivalency because for most courses, this is what determines your alpha grade. So if you want to get the highest marks possible, which are A+, you need to get between 95 to 100%. However, what is often more important for students are a couple things. First, in EA and ELCC, a passing mark would be a D, which is equivalent to 50% to 55%. However, if you ever take your courses and transfer to another institution with them, many institutions require a minimum passing grade of 60%. So that would be approximately a C minus. And some might even have higher equivalencies. So you need to be familiar with that if you ever do transfer your credits over. The other thing that students need to note is where we have little asterisks here. If you are aiming to get scholarships or certain bursaries and awards that are based on marks, You might want to make sure that you're maintaining an average grade of at least what would be equivalent to 80%, because this will get you on the dean's list, and a little bit higher than that, at an 85% or higher, that gets you to distinction, which is noted on your academic transcripts, which means you have a high academic average. If you need any information on transferring between institutions, the outlines always also include transfer of credit information. In Alberta, this is overseen by the Alberta Council on Admissions and Transfer. That's where you can look up information about transferability of courses. Now, that other document, the course syllabus, you should also always have one of these in each of your courses. A lot of the information will be the same from course to course because it is pre-programmed in. However, information that I want to draw your attention to is the class information. So if you are in a regularly scheduled live class, it will also include here the times that you meet for class and how you would meet. The contact information for myself as the instructor. There is a lot of additional academic supports. I also have these provided on the Moodle, direct links. So I'm just going to pop up here. If I go to this supports tab and go to general supports, there are different supports under different categories. So if you need technology support, there are different things you can access related to technology. For example, if this is the first time you've ever done an online course and you are worried about your ability to do that, there is an optional e-learning course, which is done through an online learning platform. However, it does help guide you through the process of using the Moodle. If you have issues specifically with the Moodle or technology that you have through Portage College, you need to connect with learning technology support. Instructors are unable to help you with things like your Moodle account, or if you are having issues that no one else is experiencing, you need to contact learning technology support. There's also some videos on YouTube on how to access Moodle quizzes, how to set up your Moodle profile, and other elements that are commonly asked about. And all students have access to Office 365, which includes Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, as well as a number of other programs. There are also a number of learning supports and services offered through the college. If you have a disability or suspect you have a disability that's impacting your learning, there is student learning services that you can access. If you need additional writing support, you can access the Writing Support Center. If you want to do some different skill development with things like Microsoft Office or using APA, LinkedIn Learning, the college has an account with. All students also have access to Read and Write Gold, which is both a screen reader and a speech-to-text composer. And there's also a link here to the Canadian Essential Skills, which gives you tests and information about skills that are considered most important by Canadian employers. There is also a wealth of support offered through the Portage College Library. I'll talk more about this in Module 7, but there's a lot of other guides and tools that the library offers. There's also some other supports and services. So all students have access to counseling and wellness. This is confidential, it's judgment-free, and they attend to a range of issues. You can do this in person or over the phone or by video conferencing. There's also academic advising services. So there's advisors to help you with your academic scheduling and choices of programs. The Portage College bookstore is where you would order any books through that would not be provided for free online. They have book lists there to access. Student guidelines, policies, and agreements. As with any other post-secondary institution, there are certain policies and procedures that all students are expected to follow. And so if you're not sure about some of those, you can check that out. If you want to become more involved with the Students Association, there's a link there. Information on Portage College scholarships, bursaries, and awards. And sometimes you can find some really cheap but really good quality furniture or technology through the Portage College auction site. So those are the general supports there. Okay, coordinator connections. So all students in EA and ELCC will also have access to a specific Moodle called Coordinator Connections. And so if I go into my Moodle and I go to my courses up at the top, right now my Coordinator Connections is sitting right on the top of all my others. However, I have mine set up in a certain way. If yours isn't showing up, you can search for it by going coordinator. And then it will, in my case, it pulls up a bunch of different ones because we make a new one every year. If you go into this, this is the program Moodle. So this is where you would get information on any specialized training, on the team of people who work in EA and ELCC, information on the schedules of the program, so what courses happen when. Practicum information is available here, as well as other materials you might need to use regardless of which course you are in. Now, within the course, I've got a number of other supports listed here. For example, if you go under supports and go to online AI tools, I'll be talking more about AI, especially in Module 2, but there are tools that I have previewed that can help you with issues like mechanics, so spelling, punctuation, capitalization. These are not tools that write for you, but instead help you to proofread so that the writing you produce is the most accurate it can be. And so there's a link of different AI tools here. If you have more suggestions, please email me to share those. And each of them does something a little bit different. Now at this point, you'll notice that sometimes when I go over certain words, I get a little question mark pop up with my mouse key. That's because we also have a glossary within this Moodle. So if I click on spelling here, I get a pop-up telling me what spelling is, but there is also a link for rules related to spelling below that can help you out if you're not sure. If you hit OK, it just closes up. So if you're not sure what certain words mean, there are words that have those pieces to them to help you out. For writing help, there is a few things. There's some practice sites, and for some skills in writing, they only improve with practice. So there's a number of what we call H5P, which are like virtual activities, as well as online lessons, practices, quizzes as well. There's some guides here on APA, some citation and referencing tools. If you are an English language learner, right now I don't have a full and big list of resources. However, I do have some pieces here that have been recommended by students who are English language learners, and they found them helpful. So I've linked those here. Again, if you have recommendations, please share them with me. There's also a tab here on common keyboard shortcuts. I'm a bit of a tech geek, so it's always a bit surprising when people don't know about common keyboard shortcuts that make using your computer easier. And so these are certain things that you can do using different buttons on your keyboard together. So for example, when I increase and decrease the size of my screen, I'm hitting Control and the plus sign, which is beside my backspace key, and it makes my screen bigger. If I hit Control and the minus key, which is just to the left of my plus key, it gets smaller. So you can increase and decrease the size, but there's also a number of other shortcuts you can use, and I have them available here. Now, the way you will progress through this course is, well, you've gotten to this video, so good job. But you'll notice right now it's in production. As when you're watching it, there will actually be a video here. After you've watched this video, you will download the course notes in whatever version you prefer. If you prefer to take digital notes, there's a Word version. If you prefer to print out your notes and take notes by hand, there's a PDF version. And then at the end of this, and I will talk about this in more detail at the end of this video, is the course completion plan. After that one is done, then you will move on to Module 2. And you will progress through the different parts that are in here. It will always start with an about. So what is this module about? There will be a video. There will be readings, and the number of readings will vary by the module. And so these are the PDF versions of textbook chapters. If you want to access the full online version, you can go back up to course information and click on the link in the textbook area. This one has a video you need to watch too, and then at the end you have a Moodle quiz to do. And once that one is done, then you progress through each of these. And I'll talk more about them in a little bit more detail as we go along. So within this course, there are 7 big things that you do for marks. Module 1, at the end of this, you're sending me your course completion plan. That is not for marks, but that is for me to know what you are doing, when you are doing it, and so that tells me when I should check to input your marks into my gradebook. Sometimes I will also be asked by the program coordinators on different students' progress, especially if it doesn't seem like they are completing the course in adequate amount of time. Modules 2 through 6, we will have a quiz at the end of each of those modules. Each of those quizzes is worth 10% of your final mark. So a total of 50% will come from those quizzes. Each of those quizzes you can actually do twice. So if you don't like the mark you got the first time, you can do it again. However, you will have different questions given to you because the questions are pulled from a bank of possible questions. And the quiz will take the better of your 2 marks. If you are happy with your quiz the first time you take it, then you do not need to take it again. The outline will be the focus of Module 7, and that is your plan for doing an essay. That is going to be worth 10%. And then instead of a final exam, this course has a final project, an essay. And so you are expected to be able to write an academic essay based on your outline to demonstrate all those learning outcomes. This will account for 40% of your final mark, and you do need to pass the essay to pass the course. So quiz 1 is going to be at the end of Module 2, and it's on research and academic writing. Quiz 2 is going to be on a lot of the mechanics pieces, so things like punctuation, capitalization, abbreviations, acronyms, and a little bit of other stuff. Quiz 3 is going to be at the end of Module 4, and that's on inclusive writing and word choices. Quiz 4 is on APA formatting, citation, and references, which goes along with Module 5. And Quiz 5 is on syntax, which has to do with sentence structure. writing mechanics, and proofreading, which will be at the end of Module 6. The outline, which will be gone over in more detail with Module 7, is your plan for your essay. And outlines, we have you do this because this is a common tool used by students to help them prepare for writing assignments at the college and university level. We do know that students who use outlines or other planning types of documents before they go and start writing often demonstrate better organization for their writing assignments. It helps them reduce what's called the cognitive load, which makes it much less stressful, and it improves the quality of the writing. Your outline will be reviewed by me, and I will provide you feedback, which you should then apply to your essay. For this year, the essay prompt is, how can culture influence the writing and communication of an individual? So a prompt is not a topic. The prompt is to get you to respond. So if you were to answer this, it might be in different ways, and that would be your topic. However, we will talk more about this in Module 7. Your essay is the big piece here. It's based on the feedback you get from your outline as well as the outline itself. Although if you decide to change things from your outline, or I give you feedback that you should change something, I would expect that you would do that for your essay. So you don't have to do exactly what you have put into your outline, but it should continue to serve as a guide. And the essay is fundamental to this course because you will be expected to write at a college level for all other courses in your program, which includes the proper use of mechanics and APA formatting, citation, and referencing. As a part of being in a college environment, you are expected to also communicate with your instructors in a professional manner. Just like when you are at work, you have a supervisor and you would conduct yourselves professionally with them. In education, I would be your supervisor for this course, and so you should be professional in your communication with me. You want to watch when you are communicating with instructors that you're not misspelling or incorrectly using their name, that you are watching out for grammar and mechanics, that you are not being too friendly or casual or rude or demanding. And please do use your Portage College email for communication related to college work. If there's any reason you're unable to meet the timelines you are identifying at the end of this module, you are the one responsible to communicate to me as soon as possible to let me know that you are behind in that. Also, please note, instructors don't just teach one course. We often teach multiple courses and have other responsibilities to the college beyond teaching. So if you need additional help, guidance, or review, it's going to be based on when the instructor can have the time to meet with you. We are not on call like doctors are. Now, there are those writing supports I noted. These are at your request. We don't just give them to you or tell you to do these things. So if you feel you're going to need writing support, there is the Writing Center at Portage College. And we have two individuals who work in there, Dr. Gail Heyer and Patricia Price. Both are full-time staff with the college, and they can provide writing assistance, support, and editing help. You do need to email a request or call and leave a message. And it's on a basis of first come, first serve. So if they are too busy, you will likely need to find support elsewhere. There are also supports available with the Portage College librarians. They can help you with research using APA and general writing needs. And they can meet you in person at one of the campuses or virtually. And so there is that ability to request help from them. You can also find this in the Moodle. If I go to Home, so if I click Home on the Moodle, you'll notice not all the links are working right now, but there is an academic writing support, so there's more information about the Writing Center there. Now, usually, if this is loading properly, there we go. There's also a link to the library home here, as well as the library guides and some of the other support services. So that's under Home on the Moodle. And if you want to request library help, after you've clicked on that, there is a button here for requesting their help specifically. Now, there also are some things to be aware of in terms of accessibility. Accessibility is a key feature within education. It's how we support as many people as possible through how we create materials and provide information. So, for example, lots of students don't seem to know this. However, if you have a video that you're required to watch on YouTube, you can actually access closed captioning or transcripts of that video. So for example, I'll just pull a video over here. If you are in YouTube and you click on the information box, which is below the video, if you scroll down, YouTube videos will have automatically generated transcripts. And so you can click Show Transcript, and then up on the right-hand side is that generated transcript. This can be helpful if you're not sure what somebody is saying in a video. It is automatically generated, so some words may be inaccurately interpreted. Videos might also have the option of closed captioning, so the CC at the bottom here. And to change your language settings, you can go to Settings, Subtitles, and most will be English auto-generated, but there are some larger or more viewed videos that will also provide subtitles in other languages, which can be helpful if you're not a native English speaker. A lot of your word processing tools, like Microsoft Word, have features as well in them to help support you as you are doing things. So one of the common recommendations I have for students who are writing is to read their words out loud, because it helps them identify errors much better than if they're reading it in their head. To find this, and I'm sorry I can't enlarge this one on the screen, but you can go to Review. And under Review, there's a few tools like Read Out Loud. So you would select a bunch of words, highlight them, and hit Read Aloud. You can also use a translation feature. So if you don't understand an assignment as it's written in English, but you understand better in another language, you could try to change that assignment information into your language. And they do have many languages. Everything from Czech to French to Hebrew to Indonesian to Inuktitut to Japanese, and even Klingon, a fictional language, is in there. So you can definitely find your language in there. There's Arabic, for example, and that can help you interpret and understand requirements that are listed in courses. I also try within all my courses to make sure that the materials and information meet the Web Content Accessibility Standards. These are standards set out by multiple nations but have been adopted by the Government of Canada to try and improve accessibility so people who have different backgrounds or different needs are able to still use it. And it is something to consider as individuals within the larger field of education. How are you making sure what you make is accessible by as many people as possible? Now, I have noted a couple of these already, but if you're an English language learner or you support English language learners in your childcare or school setting, there's some tools that you can utilize. Accessibility for language learners is a big consideration within post-secondary. The largest growing demographic in Alberta is First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, and the second largest growing demographic is immigrant families. And so there are many people who need that additional support. So I already noted on YouTube, you can use closed captions, and sometimes they are available in different languages, maybe even your own native language. You can use those translating tools within Microsoft products. And as much as possible, I do try to use plain language so that you don't get confused by any phrases or types of words that might not mean what they are being used for. Now, as noted, within the course here, there is a set of class notes, and these will be used for all the modules from 2 to 8. And this is a single set of notes to help guide you through the course. Again, that will be under Module 1 here. And you only need to download one of these versions based on however you prefer to take notes. Some people like to take digital notes. Some people like to do notes by hand. But within these notes, it guides you through. There's a checklist for each module. So Module 1 doesn't have any notes. It's just me yakking at you. But there are these things you got to make sure you do. And then you'll get on to Module 2. And as you're watching Module 2, you can fill in the notes here. Not all notes will look the same. Some modules are a little bit different depending on the purpose of that module. For example, as you're going through and you're doing work, there might be more open things here. These notes you can use on the quizzes, so I do encourage you to fill them out completely. It is also tied in what you are expected to know for this course. So for this module, you're expected to set up a course completion timeline. There are 8 modules for this course. You're almost done this one. You just have to download those course notes and send off the email to me. You want to send your email from your Portage College student email. If you are not sure how to do that or how to access your email, again, go to supports. Scroll down to the technology supports. There is a video on it in the new student video tutorials. If you're okay with it, then you're ready to go. Now, for Module 1 completion, you need to send me your course completion plan, which is what you think you'll get done when. Modules 2 through 6 will not take as much time as Modules 7 and 8. And that's because Modules 7 and 8 are more about the writing, whereas 2 through 6 are more about the mechanics, the pieces of writing. It is okay to give me a range for your schedule, as you might find that it's difficult to set different timelines. But you do want to, as much as possible, try to finish this course within a 4-week period. For some people, it might go faster because you might be trying to get into the next course that's available, and it might be less than 4 weeks away. Some people might need some additional time. However, you do need to send this to me. This will let me know when I need to go in and check your marks, to check your progress. And if you want, on the Moodle under Module 1, you can highlight this table I've created and put that in as part of your email. And so as an example, and because this is to also practice your ability to email in a professional and appropriate manner, I have an example here. So subject line clearly indicates what course it is for and what it is. Again, instructors will teach more than one course, so it's often important to identify which course you are emailing about. There's professional language used in this email for addressing the instructor and introducing what you are talking to them about. So here, good day, Ms. Ripkins. Please find below my plan for completing English 100. And then you can list it out, or you can copy and paste that table from the Moodle. Module 1 should come out as complete already, because once you've sent off this email, you've given me your course plan. The next modules, depending on your own schedule, it might be anywhere between 1 day and 4 days. And that's sort of the range that you can expect for these courses. Modules 7 and 8 will take you more time, because for Module 7, you will need to conduct some research and come up with a topic and structure for your paper. And then Module 8 is writing the essay itself. So you can expect to spend more time on those things. So you'll notice where I have this example, I've given approximately 2 days for each of those modules. But when I get to Module 7, now I have a 4-day gap between the 16th and the 20th. And between Module 7 and 8, I have a 10-day gap. Again, you are going to have to judge what is going to be appropriate for your specific needs. If you need to get into another course and need to complete this course first, you need to make sure that you have everything submitted and completed before that course starts. And making sure you end in a professional manner as well. So this brings us to the end of the video. Make sure you download those class notes, submit your course completion plan by email, and once that's done, you can start on Module 2.